The best storyline of LA getting Bronny? What will Bronny call LeBron when they're on the court together? Dad? Hey dad, can you pass me the ball? No! But he can't call him Bron, because if his name's Bronny, that would be confusing for their teammates. LJ and BJ coached by a JJ. But things got really weird before Bronny's pick. Ex-Warriors GM Bob Myers said on TV, Rich Paul was threatening teams. He said the agent told front offices, if you pick Bronny, he'll go play in Australia instead. This was after Tim Legler said what everyone was thinking. The Celtics had 54, one pick before the Lakers. Go draft Bronny and hold him hostage. We got your kid, LeBron. Now give us Austin Reeves, like the movie Taken. But that didn't happen, and Laker fans are actually pissed. They hate how it looks. LeBron's podcast partner is their coach. Now his kid gets drafted. Dude runs the franchise like a circus. LeBron tries to deny this, but on a podcast, Rich Paul said, oh, well, if we really cared, we'd force the Lakers to pick Bronny at 17. Does that sound like LeBron doesn't run the team? Honestly, it doesn't matter. Most second-round picks don't play anyway. I totally get why they got Bronny, and for people who say he's not drafted if he's not LeBron's son, yeah, that's right, but who cares? Do we forget about Thanasis Antetokounmpo? Damian Lillard's cousin somehow got on the Blazers, and the Lakers' own draft room had Joey and Jesse Buss in the front office because they own the team. So LeBron can't get his kid drafted? These are just LeBron haters. But Bronny will play a ton in the G League, but at some point, will get on the court with his dad and be called BJ, which is awkward at the very least. Also, the Lakers did really well on day one of the draft. If you haven't heard, this Dalton Connect kid is legit and fell to 17. He was a top 10 pick in every mock. Nobody thought this would happen. He is what they need as the best three-point shooter in the draft. So why did he fall? Was it bad medicals? Bad character concerns? No, it was his age. Reports say that teams hate a 23-year-old, but why? Yes, historically it's not good, but there are always exceptions. I mean, last year, the Lakers were idiots to pass on win now Jaime Jaquez with him on the board. Didn't make that same mistake. But I know the Spurs traded a top 10 pick for picks in the 2030s when Wemby's 27 years old. The Pistons took a kid who can't shoot when all they need shooters. But what's with the French people? Last year, we had Wemby go number 1, Bilal Coulibaly go 7, but before last season, we only had 3 Frenchmen in the league: Rudy Gobert, Nick Batum, and Killian Hayes. And honestly, Killian probably shouldn't have even been in the NBA. But then, 2 top 7 guys. Last night, 4 in the first round, including number 1 and number 2. Next year, probably 3 more French first rounders. What is happening? The answer is even stranger than it looks. Back in the day, top overseas picks had to be tall. Yao Ming, Andrew Bogut, Joel Embiid, you almost had to be like a 7-footer to stand out. But now, guys are going for their skill. Like Reza Shea is 6'8", but can shoot and handle like a 3-and-D American. Tizian Salon and Pacome Dadier are around 6'8" as well. The world keeps taking over the sport. The last 6 MVP trophies went overseas. Last year's top 4 MVP voting was to Serbia, Canada, Slovenia, and Greece. Now, I could say I hate this because I'm an American. This is our sport. I don't want to see a bunch of Euros take over. Go all Gilbert Arenas when Draymond assaulted Gobert and Yusuf Nurkic.
He's taking care of these Euros one at a time.
But I will not say that. I actually do not care if they take over. I enjoy a good Wemby block just as much as a LeBron chase down. I used to love soccer, so I'm used to this. But where it gets interesting is the Olympics. Last games, the USA barely beat France for the gold medal. Now, France is getting all these studs, and they're hosting the 2024 Olympics. Are we about to see a team with LeBron, Steph, Kawhi, and Kevin Durant lose to a bunch of young Frenchmen? Now that is actually spicy. But Reza Shea went number 1 partly because Alex Sarr avoided Atlanta hard. Dude refused to work out and interview with them. So Kendrick Perkins actually had the guts to ask Sarr about this to his face.
What was it about Atlanta that made you not want to be there? Since you didn't work out for him, you didn't visit.
And Sarr's like, oh, I never said I didn't want to be there. Yeah, right. They are a mess with one of the saddest locker rooms in the NBA. He would rather be a wizard, which says a lot. But they get Reza Shea, who is a 3-and-D wing, who's great. I mean, that's awesome. Everyone needs him. But normally that kind of guy goes later in the lottery. At number 1, you would hope for real star quality, but we'll see what happens. A bigger shock was Ron Holland at 5 to Detroit. Nobody predicted this because it made no sense. I mean, the Pistons, if they have one big need, it is shooting. And Holland shot 28% from 3. What were they thinking? Well, a few years ago, Holland was projected as the number 1 overall pick. He was the number 2 prospect out of high school. So I think the Pistons got unlucky falling to 5 in a weak draft. They tried to trade the pick, but nobody wanted it, so they said, screw it. Let's take a chance on Holland, who potentially becomes a star. Maybe should have gone number 1 after all. Then the Spurs picked Stephon Castle at 4, a great fit for Wemby. Castle's comp is a taller Drew Holiday, 3-and-D. Then at 8, they pick Rob Dillingham, the shooting point guard Wemby needs, who immediately got traded to the Timberwolves. The Wolves sent a pick in 2030 and a top 1 protected swap in 2031. Immediately, experts were like, strange trade for the Spurs. Anthony Edwards will only be 29 years old in 2030. We sure that pick will be any good? Yeah, but this isn't even about the pick. This is to trade the pick. Wemby will be so good, they're stockpiling other people's assets. Now, the Spurs have the Hawks picks in 2025 and 27 and a 26 swap, a Celtics 2030 swap, Wolves 2030, 2031, Mavs 2030 swap, and a Bulls pick. They are betting against those teams' future. Yeah, Ant's 29 in 2030, but so much happens in 6 years. That's an eternity in the NBA. The Spurs are planning a big trade. Could be Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker, maybe some point guard we don't even know is available yet. But I also loved Reed Shepherd at 3 to Houston. Bill Simmons pointed out, the first American white guy off the board first since 1977. It has been 47 years since that happened, so this kid's gotta be great. Now, we heard Houston might trade the pick, but instead they get Shepherd, who's a great shooter and playmaker. Now, they have a fun young core. Reed, Amin Thompson, Jabari Smith, Cam Whitmore, Jalen Green, and Alperen Şengün, yes. But don't sleep on the Jazz getting Cody Williams at 10. OKC's Jalen Williams' younger brother, a 6'7" slasher who can pass, but no one hated this draft more than DeAndre Ayton. His team just drafted their center of the future. At number 7, Donovan Clingan. They've been drafting smaller guards for years, so Clingan is a great fit as a young rim protector. And I know Ayton has some range to his game, but they are not gonna play both of these guys at the same time. Ayton is problematic for his attitude, his weird nickname that he gave himself, and his contract. Nobody wants an inconsistent 16 a game on a max deal. So the draft was weird, and nobody's really that excited. I mean, I think even if Reza Shea sucks, no one's gonna call him a bust, because they're gonna be like, yeah, I didn't even really watch that draft. I didn't think much of him anyway. But there will be all-stars in this draft. Maybe even an MVP. I mean, no one thought that Giannis or Jokic had that ceiling. But maybe the Rockets will make things even weirder. Multiple reports say they want Kevin Durant. And even if that doesn't happen, the trade they already made was crazy enough for its own video.